Well, hello there. Today we are talking about being under construction, being a work in progress, and how that is not a reflection of our self-worth. Welcome back to your Emotional Support Podcast. I am your host, Noelle, and today we are talking about the fact that you are allowed to be a work in progress and still be worthy. You don't need to have it all together. You don't need to be healed to be whole. You're not behind. You are becoming. Okay? We're going to talk all about this. So I have a client that we have done so much work, and they are amazing, and they are, just working really hard at becoming the best person that they can be. And I had a session with them, and they said, I'm just really frustrated because I realized I've been working so hard and I still have so much more work to do. And that really sat with me because I thought, I think that we all kind of feel that way sometimes. And so I thought I would bring it to you guys, to just kind of bring the reality to the space that it is okay to still be continuing to work on ourselves, because I think that that's even that shows the amazingness of you, that you are always willing to keep growing and keep improving. And so I see that if you still have work to do, I see that as an amazing asset to your character, as opposed to something that you should be upset about or feel badly about. The fact that you can see that you are not done, that, because then you would be kind of like a narcissist, if you're like, oh, I'm good. I've got it all going on. I've done the work. I've met my quota, and this is the best person that I can be. I am the best. I can think of a couple people that I could name right now who might share that characteristic. But anyway, I digress. No, this is talking about how it's good to be a work in progress, and how that if we're continuing to work on ourselves, that is a good thing and not something that we should feel badly about. So why do we struggle sometimes with being quote unquote under construction or a work in progress? So society worships that after photo, the success story, the transformation, but nobody talks about the middle, the messy, unsure, figure it out phases, right? We compare our in progress to someone else's highlight reel and feel like we're not good enough, right? We're in the middle of our journey and we're comparing ourselves to somebody who's reached the finish line. And that's not fair to ourselves. Self-worth takes a hit when we think we should have arrived by now. And this is one of the things that I've talked about in previous episodes is if your path doesn't look like everybody else's, right? That doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that it's yours, which that means you're doing it right. Okay? There's no deadline for growth. There's no deadline for becoming the best person that you can be. In fact, I don't think there's any end to that. I don't think it ever just stops, right? You're not late to your own life. So also something to think about is that progress doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be this Instagram worthy journey. Okay? It isn't linear. Healing and progress and working on yourself does not have to be linear. It's loopy. It's messy. Sometimes it's really boring too, doing that work. You can be proud of yourself and still be figuring things out. So what does real progress look like? Sorry about my dog again, but I don't want to have to restart this all over again. So saying no without apologizing, that is progress. That is huge, because I know a lot of you out there are yes people or people pleasers, and you like to say yes, you like to overcommit yourself. Okay. You don't have to say yes. You don't have to be sorry for not saying yes. Real progress might look like crying it out instead of avoiding it, numbing it, or pushing it away. Okay? Feel your feelings. That is progress, and it is not pretty. Okay? Cry. Sometimes you just need a good cry. Sometimes you just need a nap. Okay? Progress might look like taking a nap instead of spiraling. If you get those like intrusive thoughts, or you get those thought spirals, sometimes you just go and take a nap, or go and do something to reset. Okay? Naps are not exciting. They're quite boring, which is what makes them wonderful. Okay? But that is progress, is realizing that you need to go step away before you let that thought spiral and make you even more upset. Real progress might look like talking kindly to yourself, okay? Even if it's just one time, okay? Calling out that Nicole and not letting her take over, that is progress, okay? And nobody else might even know what that means. Nobody else might even know what that is. But that is progress, and it's okay, all right? Progress is self-trust, trusting in yourself that you are putting one metaphorical foot in front of the other. It's not perfect, okay? Progress, we are looking for progress, not perfection, right? I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Gosh, I say that a lot. But practice makes progress, not perfection. We don't care about perfection. We care about progress. Okay? And sometimes you might be the only person that sees that progress, but you acknowledge it and know it and love it. Okay? Because you deserve that. Here's the affirmation moment. You don't need to be done to be deserving. Okay? Say it again. You don't need to be done to be deserving. Making that progress. I remind my clients of this all the time. You are making progress. You are taking steps to better yourself. You deserve credit for that. You deserve to feel good about that. Okay? So how do we embrace this process and embrace who we are becoming in this process? Start noticing small wins. What I just talked about. Give yourself credit for those little gains, those little steps that you are taking. If you acknowledge and talk kindly to yourself once a day, acknowledge that. It's better than you did before. Okay? If you are setting boundaries with your people, even if it's just letting go of, one task that you are delegating to somebody else, that is progress. Any small change, any small progression that you are making is something to be noted. Speak to yourself like someone in the middle of becoming, not someone who's failing, right? So instead of talking to yourself like, oh, well, I should be here, or I should be doing this by now, say, hey, I have come this far. Let's use the metaphor of like training for a marathon, which is not something that I would ever do, but a lot of people do, okay? If you came from sitting on the couch every weekend to, jogging 1 mile, that is more than you were doing before. Does it mean that you have crossed the finish line and run 26 miles? No, but nobody's going to do that overnight. Okay, so you are going to congratulate yourself for getting off the couch and running that mile. Okay, and you're not going to say things like, well, I should be running 5 miles by now. Who says? Who made that statement? That who drew that line in the sand? You did. So erase it. Okay? You don't have to. If you want to set goals, there's a difference between setting goals and meeting them and whatever. Fine. But give yourself credit for those small wins and don't beat yourself up if you are not where you feel like other people might be. Okay? Use affirming language. I'm learning. I'm working on. Okay? I'm growing. I'm making steps towards blah, blah, blah. Instead of saying things like, I should have done this, or by now I should be this. Okay? Let go of timelines. I already said this. Like I said, who made that timeline? Okay? Unless it's like a deadline for work, if these are things that you're setting up for yourself, you get to measure yourself on your growth and your progress and you're trying, right? Not on the end result. Okay, there's no gold medal for speed healing. There's no gold medal for speed healing. And allow softness in the in-between. It's not time wasted. It's time becoming who you need to be. So allow yourself to rest. If you have a goal and you are working super hard towards it and you are tired, rest. Okay? Let yourself rest so that you can have a better chance of reaching that goal than if you just run yourself into the ground. All right, so to wrap it up, being a work in progress doesn't make you less whole. It makes you real, right? I would much rather have a conversation with somebody who is working towards becoming something better than what they are than have a conversation with somebody who already thinks they're the best. Think about that for a minute. If you're having a conversation with somebody who already thinks that they're the best, those are those people that are like cocky and narcissistic, okay? They already think they're the best at whatever or everything, okay? I would much rather have a conversation with somebody who's in the midst and can talk about their journey and their challenges and their accomplishments. That is so much more interesting to me than somebody who just already thinks that they're done and better than everybody else. Okay? Think about that. That kind of puts it in perspective. So your challenge for this week, write down 3 ways you have grown in the last year. Even if they're tiny. Like I said, we're not measuring how big your growth is. We just are measuring that you have grown. And I know that you have. So 3 ways you've grown in the last year. And then I want you to also name 1 part of yourself you're still working on. And remind yourself that it's okay. Send that some love, not shame. Okay? I am still working on trying to figure out how I'm going to make money without having like a steady income. And sometimes I stress myself out. And then I remember that I'm still working and I'm working towards goals and I have goals that I am working towards, even if every day isn't a giant leap. Okay? Say this out loud to yourself. I am growing. I am worthy. I am enough, even if I'm not done. Okay? Because you are. So, today's tip that you didn't ask for but definitely need, you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You are a masterpiece in motion. I'm so proud of you. And that is still unfolding. Okay? I am proud of you. And I am proud of you that you're still working and you're still becoming who you are going to be. And that might be ever changing, and that is incredible. I am so glad you're here. I'll see you next week.